This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, joined today by Kevin and Owen. Special episode with everybody together. I know you guys missed us throughout the week, but we're live every single week on Twitch and on Facebook every single week. So come check us out.
Are you about to say XSplit?
I was about to say XSplit, but that's how I broadcast. That's different. We're live every single week.
Technically, we're live on that too.
This is true. But we're live every single week on Facebook and Twitch. So come hang out with us. If not, tweet at us at TWIOCH and do all the things. Follow us on all the socials because it's awesome. We talk about gaming news here and other rambling things, but mostly gaming news. And we actually got some news. We had a lull. Yeah, we had a lull for a while with the holiday season, but we got some news now. By the way, before I forget, the topic of the episode this week is remasters or sequels that you would like to have announced in 2019. So think about that if you're watching live. We've got some things written down that we may talk about. And we'll talk about
Quite a few.
Yeah. Anyways, let's kick this off with the biggest news and the most recent news. Bungie and Activision parting ways on Destiny. Very
Dun, dun,
You
dun.
know, any news of anything being parted away from Activision is good news to me.
Right.
I think that they've ruined. I mean, the first Destiny I really enjoyed. The second one, not so much. Retried it over and over and over again, and yeah, just was not digging it. So I'm hoping this brings them back to form and they actually get some good stuff going on. What do you think?
Apparently Forsaken was really good. That's one of the Destiny 2 expansions.
Yeah.
What's interesting is reading Strider's article on this, where apparently they were popping champagne and stuff at the offices of Bungie from this separation. The fact that Activision let them keep this IP, I think, is the most interesting part.
Yeah.
Because how do you keep them? Like, how nice are you, I guess? I'm trying to figure out what it is that they did wrong where they get to be like, sure, Bungie, you get to keep the IP. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's the moneymaker that out of that studio, so I don't really understand. I mean, I guess because Activision still has Blizzard, so they're just like...
They do, and Activision's been doing some very strange things as far as Blizzard goes. Like, there's a lot of talk about different people that are getting left behind while they're trying to be like, we got to make more money. And Bungie, I feel like that Destiny 2 kind of did a similar process as the first one did. That, Taken King is the one that kind of brought that one back. And if Activision doesn't see Destiny as like a big moneymaker, I think that might be the thing. Is they're too short-sighted to see what it could be. Yeah,
because they're seeing what it is right now, which is meh.
Not great.
Yeah.
And Activision prints money, so if it's not printing money, then that's the thing.
That's true.
Yep.
You know what's printing money though, in my opinion, is the Switch. And
Yeah, it is.
and we got Blaster Master and Adventure of Link coming out on the Switch.
Zelda 2.
Yeah,
I love this game.
I don't know why you.
I
this
love
game.
it because it's awesome.
Okay, so Owen, you're a fan of Zelda. What do you think of Zelda 2?
I mean, it's okay. It's a lot harder than it. I'm wondering if they're going to add what they've been doing with a lot of the other NES titles, where they give you like the easy version. Because if they do easy version of Adventure of Link, I might actually finish it.
Yeah.
It's maybe the only way.
Well, I think if maybe they kind of tilted the experience a little bit and made it where you could level up past the cap, I think that would probably be enough.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to stop people from just like rage quitting as soon as they boot it up, though. So I think they're gonna have to change more than that.
I mean, it'll take them at least 3 minutes to rage quit.
I would start by changing the perspective of the game, but that's just me.
If it has save states and all that stuff, I will give it another shot, because it is one of the few Zeldas that I haven't beaten.
Yeah. Well, they
not
And
counting
it's
the
also
stupid
the
3DS
first time
ones.
that Shadow Link ever showed up.
I didn't know that.
He's the boss of the game.
Yep.
Well, I never got that far. So.
Kind of know your lore. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm really
not
excited
one-
about that, and
not-
I haven't played Blaster Master, so I'm looking forward to that one too.
I've not.
Blaster Master Zero is great and only $10.
Nice.
But this is going to be now included with your $20 a year subscription. But the sequel or whatever you want to call it that they made and put on Switch is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think Switch is. I mean, actually, no. I'm gonna jump a little bit further because we're talking about how great the Nintendo Switch is. But Nintendo said this week, I guess not Nintendo themselves, but Nintendo's president was talking about basically acknowledging that consoles aren't always going to be here. And I thought that was very forward thinking, which is very non-Nintendo. Nintendo's thing is usually just, look how great our console is, and it's worked for them, but it's an interesting forward way of thinking that I didn't expect from Nintendo.
So I feel like it's taken somewhat out of context. He said our focus could shift away from home consoles and be a little bit heavier on mobile, something like that. But what a lot of news agencies pulled out of it was Nintendo's running away from consoles, and that's not quite what was said. But yeah, the fact that this isn't going to be around forever and that they are diversifying is definitely a positive.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, this is not the only thing. We know the market is more than just home consoles. It's not the early 2000s anymore, when you can sell video game consoles to everyone's grandma. So
I took it as acknowledging that in the next couple generations, the fact that there's just not going to be as much point to doing a console as there is to doing other things. Because if things keep going the way with things like Project Stream, where you can literally just put your games on anything, more game companies are going to take advantage of that.
Oh, I'd agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally agree. How do you feel about Nintendo having games on Humble Bundle? It was really interesting.
They were the same price. There was no discount whatsoever. Mario Kart was cheaper on the Nintendo eShop, which it's never been discounted ever.
Yep.
And it was discounted the week that they launched on Humble Bundle. And then what is it on Humble Bundle but $59.99?
That's funny. I didn't see that.
That's the extent of what I have to say about it. It's stupid until they actually give you some discounts.
Yeah, Nintendo. I don't think Nintendo's going to allow that, though. I mean, Nintendo doesn't want to devalue any of their properties, and they feel like if they sell the game for less than what it's worth, then it's like it was Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess was almost full price on Wii forever.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that good of a
It's
game,
Nintendo.
but it's Nintendo. It's Nintendo.
I mean, it's a very similar system to like the Disney Vault. It's like as soon as it goes on sale for like $5 less, you're like, well, I guess this is the best I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And then you buy it.
That's probably go Amazon, because usually I get a decent price on Amazon. I am that guy in the store, by the way. Like as we're walking around Target or Best Buy, I'm like, what's the price of this on Amazon? Like every single place.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know Best Buy will match you, but I don't want to be that guy like all the time. But sometimes I am.
Amazon leaving their pre-order bonuses behind has made me start pushing towards digital only, at least on Nintendo. I'm not really doing it yet on PlayStation.
Yeah,
The fact that they got rid of that 20% off and everybody else is getting rid of that too. Now I'm going straight digital on Nintendo, and it's been pretty nice.
Yeah. I think it's convenient. I mean, being all digital on the Switch is extremely convenient, so I can't disagree with that.
Buy you a fat SD card.
Got my 64. It really
Well, the fact that it's not proprietary makes it actually viable.
Yeah. How much was your Vita? Yeah. How much was your Vita memory card?
The 16 gig was $80.
Stupid, dude.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. But what's not ridiculous is Yoshi. I love Yoshi.
Okay, so everybody else like sees the same thing I do. It's like Little Big Planet with Yoshi, right? Like whatever that the Media Molecule game that wasn't actually technically Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about? What was that game called? Because that's what it looks like to me.
Well, it looks like a 2.5D ish version of Paper Mario, which was kind of one of the first games to have that flip in perspective. I mean, I can
it's
see.
not an RPG though.
No, it's not.
platform.
No, it's not an RPG. I know, but I thought Kevin was talking about like the depth. I mean, yeah, it's 2.5.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, Little Big Planet is the 2.5. No matter what anyone says, it is the best 2.5 game ever. So I can see where you can see that. But
The thing about it is, just like it always is you put Mario characters in there and Nintendo IP together and make it cute, and people will buy it, and I will buy it.
yeah, Yoshi's Woolly World,
Yeah.
adorable.
How adorable is that game? There's no other word you can really use. Adorable. It's like the perfect
Yeah.
word for Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah.
This is pretty much the same thing.
Oh, the game I was trying to think of, Tearaway.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Man, that game's not good.
No.
Sorry.
No. You know,
Gimmicky as heck.
You know what-
the gameplay of Yoshi's Crafted World looks way better.
yeah.
And like that's
It's
just
a Nintendo
get the
game.
gameplay right, and you're fine.
Well, yeah, it's Nintendo.
Enter Nintendo. That's what they do. Get the gameplay right.
Yep. And and another one. I mean, former Blizzard employees or Blizzard employees in general usually make things that are good. And them making a Marvel game, or former Blizzard devs making a Marvel game, it makes me really exciting. By the way, this is not the. This is not that. No, it's not.
To make it clear, this is not the Marvel game.
No, we don't have footage of that game, but I wanted to put this game in there because I cannot wait for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I loved.
Also getting it on Switch.
Oh yeah, it's the only.
I mean, it's a Switch exclusive.
It's a Switch exclusive. Yeah, I mean, which I would already want it on Switch anyways. But I absolutely loved the other games, and the fact that they're tying this in with the MCU is amazing. Because the last one came out, we didn't really have an MCU at the time.
So I was excited about this announcement of the Blizzard devs leaving. To be specific, it's the original Hearthstone team that has left Blizzard, and they got $30 million stake to work on their game, and they bought a Marvel license. And then a buddy of mine made an extremely good point that it's a bunch of card game devs. It's probably going to be a Marvel card game, right? And so I have to hold out hope that's not true, but I was so excited until he was like, so I guess they're making a Marvel card game. And I was like, dang it, you're probably right.
We've got 3. I mean, that's the third Marvel comic game coming out, because we've got Square's working on theirs, and then we've got the one that we were showing the footage for, Black Order, and then this third one. So I mean, like, there's going to be plenty of variety as far as gameplay goes. So I think we'll be all right.
I just think with the card game ecosystem, like, card games are really hard. I mean, if it's supported, sure. It's just we see that Magic even struggles, and they're supported by one of the biggest tabletop games of all companies ever.
Yeah.
If not the biggest.
Yeah, it's the biggest. Wizards is huge. Yeah, and to me, the fact that their game isn't making as much money as they expected, it's not making near as much as I expected, because it is the best online card game. It's better than Hearthstone, because it's Hearthstone took the Magic formula and tried to refine it, and then Blizzard went, well, our game is better, so let's just use their interface and the way that they structure their game and put Magic on it, and it's perfect.
I heard Gwent's pretty fun too.
Gwent's okay. It's just too simple. It's way too simple for me.
I just heard it's fun.
It's too simple for me. I mean, it's like playing checkers. Like, eventually you're just like, I know I've only got X amount of things that I can do with this, so yeah, I get bored.
Yeah.
I get bored. I'd get bored with a Madbox, by the way, because I don't understand this thing. We're 3.5 years out.
I don't.
3.5 years out. The Madbox console. Here's the console. They keep saying that they're going to be bleeding edge technology. They're able to easily have games. Any console or PC games could come to this easily, which means it's probably, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's like Android based, but it has to be a system that everyone's already using if they're talking about how easy it is to port. But
Linux.
I don't understand how they're talking about getting VR at 180 frames a second and making PCs look like crap. And I'm like, no.
It's going to cost you $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. This is not going to be something viable that you're going to be able to market to anybody but hardcore PC gamers. And guess what? They're going to want to build their game. They're going to want to build it.
And that's the question that always comes around with this is, who is this for? Is if it's for the hardcore PC, well, they already have their hardcore PC, and the consoles, they have those. And so if you don't have something new and unique to offer, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I want a $400 Steam box that can run 90% of Steam games. That's what I want.
Make that $500, and you could probably get one of those. I mean, I'd say $500 you could make a Steam box that would do that, and
I know you can make one. I'm talking about something sleek like this where it's already like running. Because that's the other thing, they're saying port everything over. Why would you not just use something like the upcoming Epic Game Store? Like, just work with one of these companies and say, hey, we're going to build an operating system around your store. Like, that's the thing I'm talking about with Steam. I just want something already put together for me. That's why I like consoles so much to begin with, is that I don't have to do any work. I just want to click buy, download, and play.
I just want to play the game.
Whitney hates the fact that like now like you have to install every single game. I mean, we got like Red Dead, and I was like, I got it and told her, okay, it'll be ready tomorrow. It's just going to be so long.
Preloading, baby.
Preloading digital would have been definitely the way to go. I mean, that's the way to the future.
What I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I should have done. But I mean,
it was 100 gigs. I preloaded that sucker. I was like, it's okay. I'm never going to sell it.
Yeah, but with, I think Owen and I are in the same camp. Like, we do so much like troubleshooting at work and trying to make things work, trying to fix things, that when we're not working, I just want it to work. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do any maintenance.
Not fun.
Yeah, that's actually why I have an iPhone, is because I would spend so much time doing different things, not only different things that I could be doing it to adjust, but also different maintenance. It makes me really lean towards that sleek functionality of console. I don't have to install PC games. I don't have to update my drivers or worry that a Windows update's going to come and ruin an hour of my gameplay. So,
I'm pretty sure the Madbox is just going to drive you mad.
It probably is. I'm not buying it.
For the easy joke.
Yeah, for the easy joke.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to buy it yet. I want to see it, but just everything that it sounds like, it just sounds like you're built like, what operating system is it going to run? How easy is it going to be? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I don't know. So, Kevin, tell me about the Ellie experiment, because I'm just confused on what the heck this is all about.
All right. So, there's the Overwatch League, and then there's kind of there's another division below. It's kind of like minor league baseball, basically.
Okay.
And they're called the Contenders.
Okay. And
you can compete in that. People are ranked. People can watch and see if they can get into like the major competitions, things like that. So what happened was a person that nobody knew showed up and said their name was Ellie, and they were a girl doing things, but they were not going to come out and be public, and they were not going to do live interviews and not going to be on camera and stuff. And it was like, actually, you kind of do need to do that stuff. And who are you? Because nobody knows who you are, and you can't just show up. And you're okay. You're not, super special or anything. But what ended up happening was people were trying to figure out, okay, who is this person? Where did they come from? Are they really the person that they say they are? And it turns out they're not. It was somebody else. They said it was a social experiment. I don't know what kind of experiment you were trying, because you can't have a focus and control group if you're just throwing crap on the internet. And so at first,
so it was a social experiment, not a well-designed one.
Yeah,
right. And so one of the more disappointing things for me, I like a lot of Kotaku's reporting, but this was one where they just jumped in full, like, we gotta protect. And they said, okay, if this was a guy, no one would be asking who they are or where they came from. And it's like, actually, this is sports.
Yeah.
People care about the team, and when an unknown person shows up, they want to know who the heck is playing for their team. Can they trust them? Can they believe in them? Should they build the team around them? And none of those questions were answered. So yeah, there's going to be just a full court press. I don't know actual sport metaphors, but I understand the concept of sport and being invested in your team.
It sounds like a really bad way to try to not even troll, but just to fake, I don't know, like it's not even like a social experiment. Like a social experiment would be like, you know, someone pretending they're a time traveler or something. Like, so let's see what people say, how people react to, you know, to you. But if you're just like, hey, I'm good at this game, who cares? Everyone says that when they get on the game.
Yeah. The thing that I took from it, the problem is that because the reason why Kotaku like jumped in and started going after protecting her is because there was a lot of vitriol thrown at quote unquote her way. And the problem that comes out of this being fake is that all of a sudden people are now dismissive of the fact that they were treating a potential girl that way. They don't care anymore because since it turned out to be a dude, I understand. Yeah, exactly. She wasn't real, so it was justified for us to say these things. So it's kind of getting swept under the rug now. The story like flamed out really quickly as soon as it turned out that she was fake and a dude. And I think it's unfortunate that it turned out to be fake because there was a real issue there that was presented, and now everybody thinks it's okay because they were right.
Okay, I get that, but like, I mean, when I got on the internet when I was a kid, back when the internet just started, no, I'm just joking, but like when I got on the internet, I lied about who I was. Like, who doesn't lie about who they are on the internet? I get that the person was pretending to be a girl. I played World of Warcraft and pretended to be a girl for a long time.
I mean, all my characters are girls. We know this.
Yeah, but like, I would not like.
But we're not girls.
Yeah, but we're not girls. But what I mean is like, okay, who cares that? Like, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of random stuff. But my question is, did anyone ask Ellie if she was gay? Because
that's the worst transition ever.
Because that's an important thing, apparently.
That was so bad.
You're welcome.
Right.
Apparently Soldier 76, aka Jack, identifies as gay. And as much as I'm for inclusion, does it matter to Overwatch though?
I don't think it matters to Overwatch. For me, it was just kind of it was a declaration of the fact that not all gay men fall into the stereotype of having good fashion, because there is a skin of Soldier 76 where he's wearing socks with sandals.
Oh God!
And I think that is hilarious.
Yeah, that's no, like.
But apparently, according to canon, Soldier 76, aka Jack Morrison, I want to say, he had a crush on a character named Vincent, and then Vincent got married. Soldier 76 is happy for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another one of those things. Just like, oh, here's another lore fact about this character.
Isn't Tracer gay
and so
too?
It doesn't. Yeah, Tracer is also gay. But like, for me, it's much more about, okay, we're finding out new facts and new stories that don't matter. I mean, it's fun. It's fun for the lore people, and as one of the Souls digger people, I like being able to dig down and find lore and understand the world better. But in my opinion, this doesn't change anything. It's just okay.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
And hopefully one day it will be.
That's kind of my reaction to it. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm shocked. It was just, okay, now I know that.
Yeah.
But
mostly I just thought the socks and sandals thing was funny.
Yeah.
It's stupid because it does change it for some people, but those people were already on the wrong side of history anyway.
That's true.
For the rest of us, we're just like, okay. I mean, the thing about it for me is that the game there's no story mode in the game.
Yeah.
If there was a story mode where I could get to know Soldier 76, cool. I'm not an Overwatch person, so I don't pay attention to the lore anyway. If this makes you feel more included and stuff, hey,
well,
good for you. Whatever.
Yeah. When Tracer came out, there were some people getting like angry, but that person also was like, other people were quoting them on forums because they were talking about like Winston, and who is it Winston's with in the lore? Like, basically they were like, the person was talking about Winston and another character and shipping them, and so everyone was like, so you have a problem with the character being gay, but you're okay with bestiality? Like, seriously. Like,
people are weird, man.
People are weird. But what's not weird is indie games. I love indie games. You've been playing.
I was wondering what I was seeing, just if we could have if the transition was going to be really bad again.
Oh, it's always bad. It's always
Okay.
bad. But Wandersong on Steam got labeled as fake for months. And this game is on Switch as well. But yeah,
I don't think I've seen this one.
So I found this out, and I found this to be pretty interesting. Simply, so like Steam or like PlayStation and like Xbox, there's an achievement system on Steam, and apparently people make fake games to boost that are set. The reason that they exist is to boost Steam achievements, basically just your gamer score or
like
whatever.
The Mayo Tapper game on Vita.
Exactly. So it's exactly like that. So what happened with this game is that the game was so good and so well received and downloaded so many times, and it was such a small game, the Steam algorithm thought that it was fake and then labeled it and locked its achievements and perma-locked the achievements. And now Steam is actually, they found that there's a bug in their system where they can't like unperma-lock it. So now they're trying to fix it. But the funny part was just if you go like read their Twitter while it was going on, it was literally like, we're too good that the system thought we were fake.
Yeah, it's crazy impressive. It's crazy impressive to sell so much that the automatic system is like, nope, that's not gonna happen. Like that, you had to be fake. Actually, that happened to me at work once. I was hitting a server. One of my first jobs in telecom, I was hitting a server so often and so quick that it locked my user because they thought I was using an API, which I thought was really funny.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm that good. Yeah. Really, I was just doing my work and everybody else was busy watching YouTube. And I know you can watch YouTube while you work, so...
Watch. But speaking of things that are doing really well, PlayStation 4, 90 million units.
90.
Moves it up into the top 5. The top 3 if you remove handhelds.
I remove handhelds, so top 3. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't consider handhelds, sorry. Like, except for the Switch. It's...
Right.
It's...
Also,
yeah.
I think it's kind of cheating to include, like, all of the DS's. Like, there's so many different SKUs of that thing.
There's at least
Like
6.
Well...
The XL and the new and the mini and the 2D and
Hold on. But, like, you've got the DS, and there were a bunch of DS's, but the 3DS is going to be separate than the new 3DS. 3DS and 3DS XL, yeah, those are going to be skewed together, but new 3DS, I mean, it depends on what software can play on the system, right? That's what defines it.
Right. Yes, and that's fine. But there are some people that say like the 3DS overall, lumping in new and old and XL and the 2DS and like all these different ones, all of those together. And I think if they have different hardware abilities and they can play different games, those are different.
But they all play the same games. All those play the same games. They're different hardware, but then we're gonna have to split hairs and be PlayStation Pro, PlayStation 4
No,
Pro.
the new 3DS plays some games that the old 3DS doesn't.
Agreed, but you said 3DS XL, 2DS, and 3DS.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. PlayStation's really cool. A bunch of people have them.
It's gonna hit 100 million this year for sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's gonna hit 100 million.
It's never going to touch PS2, by the way. Just if anybody's curious, PS2 sold 150 million units. It's not gonna happen.
Nothing's ever going to touch the PlayStation 2. It is remarkable. That thing
Built to last.
It just kept selling. Like, we were in the PS3 era. We were playing Xbox 360, and PS2s were still not only being sold, like not only at stores, but people were still picking them up and buying them because it was so good. And also the PlayStation 3 was very expensive.
Well, also it had, once they came out with the Slim, it was still, for the longest time, it was one of the cheapest Blu-ray players out there.
Oh, it's true. That is true.
And that's one of the fantastic things. That's one of the reasons I bought it at launch.
The PS
was just because
the PS2.
Yeah,
it was one of the cheapest DVD players.
Not Blu-ray, DVD players.
Yeah, I was going to say DVD.
Blu-ray was PS3.
Yeah, Blu-ray was PS3. Blu-ray was PS3. Yeah. So apparently, Alien Blackout's a thing. People were wondering if the game was happening, and yes, it is. People like me who are huge Alien fans. I'm happy, but it's on mobile. I did find it funny that everybody's like, "What? This game you play is Ripley's daughter?" I'm like, well, yeah. Alien Isolation,
like
you did too.
Yeah.
We've been
And
here.
apparently it's not a sequel, which is really weird. They're just taking the same character, which I find extremely strange. But from what I hear, it's not a sequel or like necessarily related to Isolation. I was like, how is that possible?
Yeah, I mean,
what's the point?
How do you have a character like that who's experienced a xenomorph? I mean, with Alien Isolation, you're coming up against one alien, very similar to the first Alien movie. So this one has more aliens. So,
Aliens Isolation.
By the way,
well, and you're also playing as her, directing other squads to do things. So it's it's stupid.
By the way, real quick, did you ever hear about the pitch that that James Cameron did for Aliens?
No, but I've read his Spider-Man 2 script.
Oh, jeez. Where Dr.
Which is
Doc Ock arguing with Spider-Man over who the real Spider-Man is.
Yep.
It's just atrocious.
Will the real Spider-Man please stand up?
Please stand up. Please
Sorry.
stand up.
Please stand up.
No, James Cameron said, I want to pitch a sequel to a property. He didn't say what the property was. He said, I want to pitch a sequel to a property to do for you. And they're like, all right, whatever. And he's like, I only need 10 seconds or something like that. He walks up to the chalkboard or whiteboard or whatever and writes Alien, puts an S next to it, and then turns the S into a dollar sign. And then he puts down, then he just drops whatever he had. Like literally mic drops. It's like, I'm going to make you money with Aliens. It's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Game over, man.
It is one of the best movies. I just thought it was like the coolest pitch story ever. But
I like that one.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Who wants a new monitor for their TV or for their gaming?
Always.
Oh yeah, I'll take one.
You want $5,000? It's got a soundbar on it.
We got $5,000.
Nope.
We got $5,000. We got $5,000. Sorry. Instantly, whenever I read this story, that's the whole reason I threw it in there, is because I went Wayne's World on it.
Every time.
$5,000.
But honestly, if you're going to spend money, if you're going to be baller like that, just get the Wall from Samsung. It's a 146-inch TV. Just do that. I mean,
it's probably. I mean, the thing about that monitor is, it like in terms of it's supposed to be like the biggest. The thing that people use gaming monitors for is for frames and all that stuff. I'm sure the Wall is probably not built for like a Twitch shooter. This screen is insane. It's just the fact that it was $5,000. Like, I don't even know if there's a computer that you could build that would cost $5,000 that isn't made by a certain fruit company.
No, you're
like,
exactly right.
I don't see any gaming PC ever living up to that monitor price. But I still thought it was interesting. $5,000 is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it puts monitors into the same category as these bleeding edge TVs, like the Wall.
Yeah.
Which is why I brought it up. Was who is it for? It's for people who just want the latest and greatest, and they have a lot of money, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. There's a market for it, and that pushes technology. But at the same time, like, yeah. I mean, to me, when I see someone spending a good amount on a PC monitor for gaming, even I like recoil at some of the prices. But there's no way I can imagine people spending this much, like you said, when it costs more than your PC. And you're gonna need multiple.
If I ever went hardcore multiplayer, then I might think about a gaming PC monitor. But otherwise, I got my 55-inch TV. It does its job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's diminishing returns after a certain point, and yeah, you could technically be better than the other one, but the price difference really doesn't justify the purchase.
Yeah, it's true. Also,
I like to justify
$1,000.
So true. So apparently, modding is being made illegal in Japan, and I don't know how to feel about this.
So another thing that I found where I was reading into the story that established by the law with the idea is that there's so much fake consoles out there that are selling games, not Soldier Boy though, but things like that going on, that's what they're actually trying to make illegal. But in the process of making those illegal, which I'm really surprised that they weren't illegal already, they are making the modding of games illegal. So the whole thing is that you're just not anything to do with video games there, you're just not allowed to touch. It has to be all original, and it's theoretically it's punishable by prison time to like mod a game. So I'm like, is Skyrim just not gonna get released on the next Xbox and PlayStation over there? Like, is every Bethesda game not gonna go over to Japan? Like that's just one small example. Everything's modded these days.
Yeah.
But I was really blown away with the fact that kind of language was included.
Yeah, I think that's just poorly written law, in my opinion, because we're talking about where it should be tightened up in regards to selling something. Like, for example, like if I decide to re-edit a movie, I can re-edit a movie and have a copy of the re-edited movie as long as I don't sell it to somebody. Like if I take, I don't know if you heard about this, Topher Grace re-edited the Star Wars prequels to one movie. And like, so he has edited it by himself or his friends or whatever. Like, so he's shown it to people. Like it's his thing, but he's not selling it. He didn't put it online. So Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy and Disney can't come after him. Same thing with this. It's like, if you're not making money off of it, who cares? It doesn't surprise me that it is not illegal to sell these copy consoles, because the law is so slow in almost every government to catch up with technology. So, but yeah, I mean, the fact that you could buy all these.
One of the other interesting things that popped up in here, in addition to modding, they also included fake software codes and keys that are auto-generated, and that one makes more sense. But the law is just so broadly written that it applies to things that nobody's really interested even in stopping.
Yeah.
That's, like you said, sloppily written law.
Sloppily written. Hopefully the music in the next Elder Scrolls isn't sloppily written. Because
we can only hope.
Yeah, because Jeremy Soul's not going to be doing the music. I'm not unhappy. I'm kind of disappointed. But at the same time, I don't know who is doing the music. I don't know what the music's going to be like. So...
Yeah, and I think that there will be a lot of the themes, because like Uematsu hasn't been writing all of the music for Final Fantasy, but the spirit of the Crystal theme remains a substantial part of the series. I think that there is a feel to Elder Scrolls music that that might not necessarily be exclusive just to Jeremy Soule, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Whatever the next version is.
We promise it's coming, guys. Fallout 76 is the other game we're working on.
Well, they got Starfield first, which there was rumors about, which we didn't talk about on the show, but there's like rumors about it being in like complete disarray. Like there's a rumor that basically they were trying to make ships, like the actual like ship maneuvering and all of that spacefaring, like actually work with the engine that they've been using for Fallout 4, and apparently it's the same engine that they've been using.
I'm just imagining the generation of water, just that alone being a huge issue.
Oh yeah, I mean they're still, well, the new Elder Scrolls is going to be on the same engine that they put Skyrim on and Fallout 3 and like everything else, and that's just,
and people are still gonna buy it.
Sad. I am gonna buy the next Elder Scrolls.
I know you are.
I've bought Skyrim so many tims, and it's okay because that's what I've been playing lately.
We don't judge people around here.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, you haven't. I don't know if you've been playing it lately, but Blackout's pretty good. So there's So Activision, there's question of Activision making Blackout and Overwatch free to play, which honestly, they can still make money off of these. I don't think that either one will hurt in making it free to play. In my opinion,
I think it's genius.
I think it is. I mean, that's the one thing that propelled Fortnite. I mean, not only was
$2 billion industry.
Yep. And if you hook someone with it being free, then they'll be apt to pour money into it. If it's addictive gameplay like Fortnite is, or like Blackout, where you have quick in and out, you have a good reward system, and the Blackout gameplay is amazing. So putting this free to play, yeah, that'd be fantastic. What are the microtransactions like in that game, by the way? Because I haven't even seen.
They're not huge. I mean, they have
the loot boxes.
I think they have a currency or something that you can buy for the regular multiplayer mode. But this is specifically talking to Blackout. And in Blackout, currently, there's challenges to where you can unlock skins. I'm guessing that if they were going to make it free to play, they would get rid of those challenges and make it to where it's like, hey, you want to just buy our skins? And then who knows, maybe that evolves into a loot box thing where it's like, do you want to make your AK-47 look different? Do you want to make your AR-15 look different? Whatever. There's not an AR-15.
I'd just go completely away from loot boxes and do what Fortnite did, which is like, Just buy it. And unfortunately, the part that I don't like, though, is that the exchange of real money to fake currency gets really confusing, and it disassociates how much things actually cost. And Microsoft is famous for doing this on the Xbox store when you had to buy Microsoft bucks,
gold points, or whatever
they were called. Yeah, because you would be like, oh, it's this much, it's 1,600.
I hated converting that in my head.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's 1,600 points. I'm like, wait, how much is that? Oh, it's $20. Like, it doesn't seem like as much, which is what V-Bucks basically does in any kind of currency like that. But I'm fine with microtransactions where it's like you're asking me to buy something that's cosmetic. Go for it. I mean, I bought horse armor, so that happens.
And one of the other things about this is that Blackout and Overwatch, I mean, they've sold what they're, okay, not all of, but they've sold the vast majority of what they're going to sell as far as like the base game goes. And so if you can introduce tiers and have it where, because like Overwatch is free like every other weekend, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so because their idea is just to get people playing their game, to get people interested and invested, both emotionally and financially. Yeah, I think that Overwatch is a game that it works well for. That was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Game of the Year 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
almost 3 years old. So yeah, I think it's fine. I
think they should. I think if they want to compete with it on like a Twitch level and a social level, like that, one, Blackout has a problem on PC where it's just it quickly goes awful. So the main Blackout crowd is on PS4, but the Overwatch, I'm sure, is having declining numbers. There's no way that it can be where it was 2 years ago. If they want to bump that back up and compete alongside Fortnite for all that money out there, I think it's gonna work.
I'm curious if they'll do something like there are some free-to-play models where you can't play like the very latest version of something. So what if they hold back the free-to-play players on Blackout specifically to one expansion behind, and then you pay a subscription model to bring it up to full. Like there's a lot of different marketing options and payment options that they could choose to do and not have it go fully free to play and still be making their money.
Yes.
And Overwatch, there's like characters and stuff, right? So like you could make it to where you get what the original set of characters for free, and then
yeah, plenty of options there.
Oh yeah. So let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think that these games should go free to play, and what's the way that you would best milk money out of people with these games? What type of systems would you use? Loot boxes? I wouldn't. Later.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.